to my podcast, Soul Expansion and Inspiration. This is Series 2, Episode 12, and my name is Ali O'Shea. Today, I would like to give a very warm welcome to Suzanne Young. Welcome, Suzanne.
Hi, Ali. It's my pleasure to be here, so thanks for inviting me.
Thank you, and thank you for being here. We already had your guest, I nearly said, your husband as a guest.
Yes.
So we'll be talking about him a little bit later on as well. So you are an intuitive life coach. You specialize in the law of attraction, obviously one of my favorite topics. And
Yeah.
you're a contributing writer for Women to Women Michigan magazine. Wow.
Yes, I am.
A published author, and your book is a teaching autobiography, and it's called Stepping into a Life of Joy, and you're also an inspirational speaker. So first of all, I'd like to say congratulations on your book. I'm so excited for you.
Thank you. It's been a journey. I actually started writing it in December of 2014. Slowly put it together, put it up on Kindle about 2016. But then over the next few years, there was so much more I learned, and we're always growing and becoming more aware. So I actually revised it and just brought it out in paperback in January of this year. So it's been fun.
Yeah, that was actually one of my questions for you. Why did you do a revision of it? And I thought that your answer was going to be that because you learned and expanded and grown. And the reason that I thought that was because I have workshops myself on the law of attraction, and I'm actually in the middle of revising them because so much more now than I did when I originally put them out. So
yeah.
It's one of those things. We are always learning and growing and expanding. I'm sorry, I'm just turning my phone sound off. So that's amazing.
Yeah, so just like you intuitively picked up, we always are growing and learning more. And when way back, Kevin and I first got introduced to how the universe all works and law of attraction by with Abraham Hicks, Esther Hicks and Jerry. And over the years, all the time, you can hear these things over and over, but you're in a different place, so you hear them differently. And then, of course, as we expanded, we just started exploring all over YouTube, more people who channel infinite intelligence, and just kept picking up more and more knowledge and understanding. So by the time that, actually really what motivated me to revise my book was Kevin was really excited about stepping into a new area that he really wanted to explore. And it was his dream, and I'm sure you talked about it with him on your interview, about helping light workers, people step into their own gift.
We did.
And when yeah, I know, that's very exciting, because don't we all need help?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so we can be authentic and be true to ourselves and not feel like we're different than anyone else. And so when he had that idea, then I thought, oh, let's see, what could I do now that's new and different just for me? Because we've been working together for years and we've done a lot of workshops together, but it's kind of fun how we keep growing and evolving, and he had that beautiful idea. And then I thought, you know what, I've learned so much, I'm going to revise the book, do some of the rewording on my law of attraction principles, which is I intersperse throughout the story, helping people understand how I attracted various scenarios in my life, the good and the bad. Help me actually become accountable for my whole life journey, which is a beautiful thing.
Brilliant.
So I reworded things and explained how it all worked, I think, more clearly, really good for me, just to get more clarity myself, and was now really proud of it. I'm excited. And another thing, of course, Kevin, he's my IT man. He helped me get, I have like 30 some principles in the back of the book that you can find the page it belongs to in the paperback, in the story, or if you're on Kindle, you can just click on it, it takes you right to the page, so that you can review, oh, that's how that worked in Suzanne's life, or didn't work. It's always working, but sometimes when I got things I didn't want, I would put a little principle in there, and this is why this happened. And the thing is, none of us do it on purpose, because we don't understand how it's not working. So it's, I think, for me, and I hope other people, they can start having their own clarity and become accountable for their own life, and understanding that they're not a victim. It's not good luck or bad luck, or even pot luck. It's just totally focus and understanding how to use this beautiful energy to support us. I mean, it's a wonderful thing.
Exactly. Yeah, that's brilliant. I always say to people, there's no such thing as luck.
No, definitely not.
It's more a blessing. You're not
really is.
You're not lucky. There's no such thing as luck, even though I live in Ireland with the leprechauns. There's no such thing as luck. You create your own reality, and you're blessed. It's not luck.
Yeah, it's so true. And that's why when people say, well, my title, Stepping into a Life of Joy, is exactly, it's interesting. When I first started writing it, I thought it was going to be titled Free to Be Me, because I finally learned how to be my authentic self, be true to me, and be free of trying to people please everyone and trying to make everyone else happy and just pushing my own, things that I wanted to see happen in my life off to the side. And then when I wrote the whole book, and I thought, no, this is stepping into a life of joy. And that's how I really honestly came up to the title. Like, wow, I went from some miserable experiences into this beautiful life I have now. And that is stepping into a life of joy. And so I love helping people learn how to do that for themselves.
I love the name of the book. I think it's great. I think it flows. It flows really well. Whereas if you said I'm free to be me, I think Abraham would say there's some resistance in that.
That's true. Oh, you're right. Absolutely. Yeah. So even then, as I was growing and writing the book and expanding, I realized the flow of that title was really what I wanted. So,
Oh, that's exciting. I must get myself a copy. And for the listeners, it's called Stepping into a Life of Joy, and they can buy that on Amazon. Isn't that correct?
They can, and it's so simple. Kevin set it up, of course. So love that he supports me in all this wonderful technical.
I've got one of them too. I've got one of those too.
Oh,
it's great. Yeah, he does all my technical stuff.
So they can just go steppingintoalifeofjoy.com. Takes you right to Amazon, right to the book. You can read about it, see if it,
Perfect.
interests you to purchase it. Mm-hmm.
Perfect. Well, I wish you every success with
Thank you.
I know you've relaunched it already and it's out there, but so I wish you every success.
Thank you.
So, Suzanne, you started your spiritual journey really in 2004,
Yes.
when you found out that your husband had taken a lot of your retirement. Your second husband, wasn't it?
Yes, it was my second. Not just my first; it was my second.
It was your second husband. When you found out that he'd taken some of your retirement money.
Yeah.
I mean, my jaw just dropped to the floor when I read your story. I have to tell you, I actually went, and my husband went, what? And I said, I haven't read this all yet. Wait a minute.
Yes, take a breath.
I literally went, so because this is obviously our first time meeting, and that was the first time I heard about your story, but he'd moved girlfriend in, hadn't he, and had been living with her for 9 months before you found out. And
exactly.
So because it was your second marriage, you kind of felt lost and started to look for things outside that would help you, didn't you?
It's actually, in hindsight, how I began to use the law of attraction to support me. I didn't know about it then in 2004. I didn't really. Kevin and I actually got introduced to it, with Abraham Hicks in 2007, or 8. But really what happened was when I found out, I did the same thing. Big, shocking, sick to my stomach moment. But I was at work and we had this business together, and I had been used to doing it my whole life, numbing my emotions, pushing it down, pretending nothing hurt me, that I was strong. And so that whole day at work in front of our employees, I put on this pretend happy face that nothing was wrong. And yet I knew I'd found out the truth, and I had to live those next 8 hours pretending that it didn't matter, which I actually was used to doing. I mean, I had a habit. My first husband was also verbally abusive, an alcoholic, and a deceiving person. So those, I had learned over years and years, habit of pretending nothing bothered me, trying to be a strong mom, having 4 children and run 2 businesses and all that. So that night when I went home, he went off to the bar. I went home, and this is the power of law of attraction. I love this part. I'm at the depths of my emotions, deeper than you can imagine, although many people have even worse experiences, but mine at the time was the worst.
Yeah.
And I sat on the floor and I was crying and crying, and just for the first time letting myself sob and cry and feel the power of how deep I had let myself go into sadness. And my dog came up to me, and it was this is the power of animals, because they're always in alignment. And she came up to me, and she, came right up close and started licking my tears. And for a moment, and this is so the power Abraham teaches us, all people who channel source energy want us to know that when you find a little relief, you have a little more clarity. It's one little thought at a time, but she brought me relief. She was licking my tears and I'm thinking, oh, at least somebody loves me. I'm not, you know, even if it's a dog, you finally feel like you aren't alone. And in that moment of relief, a thought came to me. I didn't understand how law of attraction worked then, but I'm having relief. So a little helpful thought, because the universe always wants us to support us, came to me, and it said, and it was my voice in my head, my inner being, but still the universe. What do I need to learn about me or life so I never do this again? I thought I was just talking to myself. In a way I was, of course. And the dog was still supporting me. And with that thought, and this is the power of momentum. One little moment of let yourself relief, listen to the next little insightful thought or feeling or nudge, and then keep on going. And the next thought was to call the CEO of another company that I had belonged to, a multi-level marketing company. And I'd been in it for 25 years and I was the top achiever. So I was good friends with her. And I called her and I said, my life's falling apart. I'm getting a divorce for the second time. She'd already seen me go through the first marriage. And I said, I know I can't. I'd earned a free trip to Puerto Vallarta then, but I couldn't go because I was starting this divorce. And she said, oh, Suzanne, I want to find you a really good attorney. And this is how the law of attraction lines up little cooperative components. So because I listened, the dog licked my tears. I felt relief. I thought, what do I need to learn? And then the next thought was call the CEO. All of that just lined up beautifully. And then I called her and she said, I'm going to find you a good attorney. And I said, thank God, because I can't even think straight. My life is a wreck. So she sends me to an attorney who promised that she would help me if I was willing to do everything she said. And I said, absolutely, I can't think clearly. I don't even know what to do. My life is a mess. And she said, I want you to learn to meditate, Suzanne. And I kind of rolled my eyes and said, what? I know. What attorney tells you to meditate? I figured for sure she was going to tell me to get all my financial stuff in a row because he was so secretive. You know,
I love your attorney.
I did too, because really with her supporting me in that way, more relief. You see, the universe will line up support for you if you're ready to receive it. And I was ready to just help. Somebody help me. And of course I was asking the universe. And when you summon the universe in a sincere way and not in a needy, desperate, I got to have it now, but just somebody help me, the universe will start bringing you answers. So I rolled my eyes and said, oh, I understand meditation. I've read everything, Deepak Chopra, Eckhart Tolle. I know there's a lot of power in it, but I just can't quiet my mind. And she said, Suzanne, I don't want you to learn to do this yourself. Because she knew I was like one of these, when you're married to alcoholics, you just do it all. Like you enable them, unfortunately, to be helpless. And then you start doing it all. So I was always learning all myself, everything. She said, I want to send you to a class where there's a group setting. The energy will be good. It will help you know what that feels like. And I said, okay, but do I really have to drive to your city to learn how to do this? Because she was like 45 minutes from me. She said, oh, no. And I heard she'd been meditating for years. So she quiets her mind. She opens up the yellow pages back when people use them. And it opens right up to my city. Amazingly, not really, law of attraction. And she starts running her finger down the yellow pages and she says, oh, wow, here's a woman who teaches exactly what I want you to learn. It was Deepak Chopra's Primordial Sounds, which meant nothing to me at the time. And she said, oh, it's Deepak Chopra's Primordial Sounds. I said, okay, but you know, do I have to come to your city? She said, no, this isn't your city. It was actually 1 mile outside of my city, a bordering city. And so I rolled my eyes and I said, okay, fine, I'm going to go. So I go home, I sign up, there's one seat left, just one. And then I have a whole month to wait for it. And now here's the next little support from the universe. So I'm thinking, I'm having a little relief. Oh, my, you know, that question, what do I need to learn about me or life so I don't ever have another painful relationship? Then the next thought came, well, my attorney wants me to learn how to meditate. Maybe I should explore spirituality. And that never had come to me before. I'd read about it, but didn't explore it. Too busy doing, you know. Yeah. You know, being a leader and a teacher and a single mom and all that stuff. So that little thought was on a Saturday. I met my attorney on a Friday. On a Saturday, I signed up for the, meditation class, realized I had a month. Then I thought, oh, spirituality, I can start focusing on that. Next day, Sunday, I turned on the TV and Joel Osteen
Oh,
was
I love
on.
him. Love him.
I had never, ever seen him. I'm not religious, so I wasn't drawn to any kind of, and especially not Christian, because my other two abusive men were Catholics, but they were very hypocritical. So
Yeah.
anyway, bottom line is I started watching Joel Osteen, and that year I couldn't get enough of him. Like, whoa, I started recording him. And then, because it was so uplifting, I'd never understood the Bible, but he explained it so I could understand it with true life stories. It was very fun. He'd written his first book called Your Best Life Now. And I thought, Your Best Life Now? Like, when's that coming? I would love that. So I love reading, so I ordered the book. And during that whole time of the month waiting for the meditation, I was reading the book. And it was the first time, Allie, in my whole life that I had felt this emotion, because your emotions are so powerful, of hope and faith. Never had that before. I wasn't trained in any religion. I didn't pray. I had no faith, all of that stuff. I just figured you work hard, you get the results. And the reason I had that feeling was because in his book, he talks about all these true life stories of people who've gone through miserable, many worse than mine experiences and become happy again. And that's what I wanted. I just wanted to be happy and not go crazy through this experience. So I started having faith in this and hope, like maybe I can get through this. And it was that little thought. This is so wonderful how the universe works. With that little thought, I thought, maybe I can just get through that. And then a little thought came into my head, and it was, if I ever have another man in my life, I want him to be spiritual. It didn't really have a whole lot of meaning to me, but I wanted to talk about this unknown faith and hope and something. And then I put it out of my mind, and I looked back at reality, and I thought, oh, that'll never happen. I hate men. I was hating men right then. So, but that little thought, your inner being knows what you want, even if you don't clearly know when you're stuck in a mess like I was. So to say to myself or have that drawn through me, if I ever have another man in my life, I want to do spiritual, was.
You launched that rocket of desire, didn't you?
It is. It was in my vortex.
Kevin Young.
Absolutely. And that's where I met Kevin at the meditation class.
Oh, really? I didn't know that. Oh my God, your story is amazing. I love it. And I love the way you pieced it all together with such intricacy for the law of attraction and the universe. It's brilliant.
It's just a fun thing. And I had no idea that I would be able to share this story with a smile on my face, because it's so important to realize that when you're down at the bottom of your emotional scale, you're really, really thinking hopeless, allow yourself to breathe and just think of, and turn to something that'll help you feel better. For me, it was my dog. That was the beginning. Animals are very good, but it could be nature. It could be just going out and looking at the sunset, or get out in the woods, or anything to bring you relief so that you can hear the messages the universe wants to give you to support you in your next logical step. You don't jump from depression to joy, but you do, one little relief and one new thought at a time, help yourself get there.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much for sharing your story with us. I love it. Absolutely. And that's so magic. You met Kevin at the meditation class. I love that. So, you've talked about lots of people to me about like who has inspired you over the years, such as Wayne Dyer, Abraham Hicks, Joel Osteen, as you've already talked about, Eckhart Tolle, Jessica Alstrom, Oprah Winfrey, Teal Swan, Bruce Lipton, Greg Braden, so many people, basically. There's lots and lots more people. If you had to choose one person that has really inspired you and impacted you out of all those kind of spiritual leaders, teachers, people who really made an impact on your life, who do you think you'd choose if you had to choose one?
I know, that was a hard question. And I began pondering that and thinking what the one pivotal moment that I feel that I picked up was from Dr. Wayne Dyer. Truly, I hate to put him over all the other ones, because Oprah, Wayne Dyer, and Abraham Hicks were the three that totally, and all the other ones have been beautiful and more information. But
no, we're not dissing the others. It's just from a personal standpoint of view.
From a personal standpoint, it would be Wayne Dyer, just because I kept ordering his books through my journey of being a single parent for 10 years, raising my 4 children, to the verbally abusive marriage. I just kept reading his books, and they always brought me some hope, even though I didn't realize what the power of hope is. But it always made me feel relieved. And when the second marriage fell apart, and I was going down to Florida to tell my parents one more time I was a big loser in my mind, oh, I'm getting another divorce and it's even worse than the first. I was really being hard on myself, and I ordered Wayne Dyer's book, and I was on PBS, and of course, if you bought the whole thing, you buy the whole enchilada, they say over here in the US, when he's trying to help support PBS. You get the CDs, the book, and everything. So I was on the beach. I hadn't told my parents. I got down there, and I was walking the beach trying to figure out what to say to explain that I'd done this to myself again. And I was listening to a CD, and it was The Power of Intention or The Power of Inspiration, whichever one came out first. And in that, this really resonated with me. This is why I picked him as my number one, because it really helped me change and learn and become more powerful within myself. He said, when you are thinking in your head about where you are in your life, and it's like the worst case scenario, something you can't even imagine anything worse could happen, so you are feeling so horrible, ask yourself, talk to yourself and say, how am I describing this situation to myself? Because you see, when you talk to yourself about situations, you're painting a picture in your mind, a vivid picture. And then now that's different. So that the words you're describing to yourself are painting the picture in your mind. If you want to help yourself begin to feel better, he suggested that you change the way you're speaking to yourself about the worst thing that's happening. Pick words that make you feel a little better, so the picture will start changing, so you can support yourself. And this really made sense to me as I was down in Florida, because my mother's an artist, and she used to always tell me, Suzanne, when you're done with the picture, and she had many beautiful pictures, she loved painting nature, the picture frame you put around the picture will either enhance it or detract from it. You get to pick. And this is no different than the picture you've painted in your mind. You get to pick the words that you're going to describe your own situation to yourself. It's always up to you. Do you want to feel better, or do you want to get stuck feeling worse? And with that, when I'm listening to it, on the beach, listening to this CD, I thought, oh, I can't even think of another way to think about this mess I'm in. And so then he suggests, if you can't think of anything, maybe you can just call it a blessing in disguise. And I thought, okay, I like the word blessing, even though I'm not religious. Everybody says, blessing, bless you, dear, it's a blessing. And I thought, that's nice, I like that word. In disguise made sense. I could accept those words because it had to be hidden. I had no idea how this could ever be anything but a mess. So I thought, okay, I'm going to start saying, I love Wayne Dyer. I'm going to start saying, it's a blessing in disguise. I would catch myself thinking, this is the worst thing that could happen to me. I'm a loser, all that negative self-talk, and start saying, no, it's a blessing in disguise. Now, I have to admit, in the beginning, I didn't believe it because I was stuck in the rut, but I believed in helping myself, and I believed in all the stuff I'd read by Wayne Dyer. So I thought, I started this habit of, no, it's a blessing in disguise. And then, a belief is a thought you think over and over again till you've lined up enough energy, you attract experiences and situations that reinforce that belief. So I didn't understand that then, but I do now. And by saying that over and over, this is such a beautiful thing. The whole year of that divorce, because I got that CD right at the very beginning when I found the attorney, everything unfolded then. And through that whole year, of course, I met Kevin. We just became spiritual friends. I was not caring ever to have another man in my life, but he was so different than these other men in my life. He actually meditated to release stress instead of going to the bar. That was new and different for me. Yeah. I thought, whoa, what kind of a man is that? He's like a girlfriend. I don't get this. And so we just were friends through that whole divorce. And when it was done, and we continued to get to know each other and get involved with businesses, and I took Dale Carnegie, and he was one of the coaches, and it just unfolded beautifully. And that was the power of It's a Blessing in Disguise, because in the end, of course, it was a blessing. We fell in love, we got married, and opened our company.
That's amazing. Honestly, I love your story so much. It's getting even better and better and better and better, because I was going to say to you, and of course, finding you found Kevin, and he is the blessing in disguise for you.
He certainly was.
I love it. And so do you want to talk a little bit about your businesses that you have there with Kevin? I know Kevin spoke about it on the podcast, but the listeners that are listening to this may not have listened to the podcast with Kevin. So you and Kevin are both law of attraction intuitive coaches, aren't you?
We are.
And you do lots and lots of things over there. Do you want to tell everybody, first of all, whereabouts you're based in the US?
We're outside of Detroit, about a 30-minute drive outside of Detroit, in a little, actually it's a big city called Novi, N-O-V-I, Michigan.
Okay.
Yeah, and we actually started our company back in 2007 when we were introduced to the law of attraction, and honestly, it didn't really unfold into the strong company that it ended up becoming and helping and supporting people until Kevin got diagnosed with his brain tumor, which I know he shared on his interview with you. But when we first just got introduced to it, we had watched the DVD, The Secret, you know, and being that we have many beautiful things in common, but then we have different things too. He's very logical, strategic planner, that kind of a thinker, and I'm more free flowing and, I don't know, creative, whatever all that is. But those two aspects of ourselves really blend well together. But when we watched this DVD, I remember I said, oh, wow, that's really interesting. I love that. That feels good, because I'm into my emotions. And he said, that's really nice, Suzanne, but, you know, like, prove it to me. And I said, oh, well, I don't know. I can't do that, but I want to teach it. Now that I had gotten that little taste of it, I wanted to start teaching it. So we opened our company, what I had learned, because I'd listened to, you know, I'd been a big reader of Wayne Dyer and Louise Hay and all these other people. So with The Secret, the DVD, I knew I could put it all together, and I started a program called the Women's Self-Awareness Class, and that was in 2007. And we actually opened our company to have a place to exist, because I, at that time, was in a different business. That was when I was in the multi-level marketing business. I used to sell lingerie at home parties. It was called undercover wear. And no longer do they exist, but I was in that for like 28 years. But and back to
my mother used to own an underwear shop.
Oh, okay. Hey, we got something.
Lingerie, I should say.
Long story short, we decided to call our company Personal Success Programs because we both benefited so much from taking the Dale Carnegie course. We loved watching and helping and supporting people in their communication skills and the self-empowerment that they teach in that program. So we thought, well, why don't we just call this Personal Success Programs? And I started teaching this women's self-awareness class. Later on, when he got through the brain tumor experiences, and we learned so much more, because that's when we delved into Abraham Hicks material for a full straight year. Then we started teaching, and he was very happy to join me in teaching and training law of attraction from everything we'd learned from Abraham Hicks and the other people that we've been listening to, but mostly Abraham Hicks. And so for years, we did all kinds of different workshops. That's kind of changing now. I mean, we had workshops on how to easily attract your ideal client, how to, you know, improve your relationships, the basics of law of attraction, all kinds of things. And when you teach it, it helps you become more understanding yourself of it. So all that was good. Yeah. But he has now gone into really wanting to support light workers. We have one program that we do together, and it's called Explore Your Intuition. It's an in-home thing. We're hoping to expand it to be online, but and that is somewhere we see that coming in the future. We'll have some online things available. I'd like to say, yeah, go here now, but we don't. And then so he has a lot of things he's doing with light workers. He has an 8-week program called Develop Your Intuition. So I got inspired after my book. I started getting feedback from people who'd read my book, especially mostly women right now. And so I started my own program, and it's a 6-week program. Again, it's in my home. It's called Happiness Now. Like, who doesn't want to be just happy now? Exactly. And I thought, this is what I want to do. I want to help whoever wants to come to this program. And right now, it's just women. Learn how to use the law of attraction effectively, consistently, so that you can understand how to be happy right now. That you don't have to change the circumstances around you. It is all within you to get a new perspective, because like Wayne Dyer says, when you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. And that's one of my favorite things I picked up from him. Yeah. And that's why, you know, my own little favorite phrase for myself is, when you change the quality of your thoughts, you're going to change the quality of your life.
Perfect. Love it. Love it. Well, congratulations on all your workshops and your programs. And again, I'm wishing you so much success with them. I know that they'll be wonderful, because you're such a dynamic duo, the two of you. You're such lovely people, and very energetic and vibrant.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
You're welcome. So I know that you guys have been on lots of Abraham cruises,
Yes, we have.
and I know that Kevin has been in the hot seat. I don't think we actually spoke about that on my interview, funnily enough. Or maybe
Ah,
I can't remember. But
I
I
know.
know,
I can't remember either because I haven't seen the recording yet, but I know it's coming up before you know it.
yeah, it's coming up soon, but I can't remember whether it did, but I know that he's been interviewed by Katina Love, and I listened to that. So that's
I
probably
have too. Yeah.
I've heard that from, and you have too, yeah. Have you ever been in the hot seat, or would you like to be in the hot seat? Because when I went to go see Abraham in 2017, I didn't actually want to go in the hot seat.
Actually, I wanted to go in the hot seat. I always had a question. Of course, Kevin and I would sit next to each other, and Kevin never wanted to be close in the audience. Like a lot of people were eager to get in the hot seat, sit in those first few rows, but we would be way back. And sometimes we went up in the balcony, just the first row, just in case he got called so he could go down. So we'd always raise our hands together because both of us are always curious, and he would always get picked. And this went year after year, and I still never gave up on raising my hand, but I realized and began to understand that what's beautiful about Kevin is he can ask a question with such clarity, and he's lit up about wanting to receive the answer. And so Abraham will call those kinds of people that are lit up with a good, clear question and are ready to receive the answer because the vibration is so close. So when you get up on stage in the hot seat, you can say it clearly, and now you can receive it. Because you know, when you're asking a question, it's a lower vibration than receiving the answer. But if you're lit up and close to it, you'll be able to, receive the answer from Abraham, which is what they want, a nice exchange of answers and questions up there.
Yeah. You've also been on cruises, haven't you?
We've been on, I don't know, 11, 12 cruises. We've been to a couple of their different workshops, some in Chicago. We've gone down to San Antonio. Actually, the year after Jerry died, she had a workshop down there in San Antonio. And then we get to tour their estate and they actually had a barbecue there after the event. It's really nice.
Oh, wow. I just love Esther Hicks. I mean, honestly, she's just phenomenal, and her energy is amazing. But I don't know if Kevin ever told you, or maybe it didn't for him. I sat in the hot seat after the show was over.
Oh.
To have my photograph taken. Now the photograph has disappeared. I don't know where it's gone, but I did sit in the hot seat, and nobody talks about the hot seat vibrating.
No, but it does. There's an energy there that Kevin says it's powerful. You can't even explain it. It's just so powerful. It's a good feeling, though.
I sat on the hot seat, and I said to my friend, "Oh my God, it's vibrating!"
Oh, you felt it?
Yeah. And I said, my question is, why does nobody ever tell anybody that the hot seat vibrates?
People get in the hot seat.
You're breaking up a little bit there.
Okay, there have been people. Can you hear me?
I can hear you there. Yeah. Sorry.
There have been people who've gotten in the hot seat who actually jump a little bit and say, "Oh, this is hot. This is vibrating." So you're not alone. People have felt it.
Oh, okay.
You just didn't happen to hear the ones in the hot seat that said it.
No, I didn't. No. You've told me that your message to people is that which you've already spoken a little bit, but when you change the quality of your thoughts, you will change the quality of your life. I love that sentence in itself is just, it resonates, doesn't it, with everybody, I think.
And what I like about that, and why I thought, this is really good, because I am actually an inspirational speaker, but I'm stepping this year into another thing I'm exploring, becoming a professional speaker, inspirational still, of course, and I realize that there's a gift that I want to share with people, and that's understanding the quality of your thoughts. Really and to have a quality life, you have to have quality thoughts. And who doesn't like quality? Like when we go to the store, we're going to look all over the fresh vegetables and pick the highest quality because we want to be good to ourselves, right? And when we buy clothing or whatever, it's not necessarily the brand name or the price, but we're going to look it over and make sure it doesn't have a rip in it. We want good quality.
Exactly.
People haven't trained us that you also can totally benefit and help yourself by picking quality thoughts. Quality feels good. It's true to what you've decided you are right now in this moment. I want this to eat, I want that to wear, and I want this to think. So anytime you're going through your day, I totally love people to start paying attention to the way they're speaking and thinking. Because if you're not feeling good, it's totally up to you to recognize it, pay attention to that emotion, and pick a thought that feels a little better. It doesn't have to be a high-flying thought like, oh, you know, I'm so happy, but choose those thoughts so you can start feeling better, because you will keep raising your vibration and you will keep changing the quality of your life. And it's all practice, building up momentum, building a new habit. You can't ever get rid of old habits, but you can replace them with new habits. And those old memories and that old stuff, you can tap into it real easy by just going there, but drop the old story and start your new one and build that new quality life with new quality thoughts.
Love it. Love it. Tell me, Suzanne, what is it that you write for Women to Women magazine?
I actually am the Law of Attraction department, so to speak. So every one of my articles, it's an online magazine. So you can go, you know, w2wmichigan.com and it'll take you there.
Oh,
So yeah, and it only comes out once every couple of months. It seems this year it's more like once a quarter, but it's all geared towards women. So it's the writers that are involved in turning over our articles to the magazine have different categories, and mine's Law of Attraction. And it's all to help women become self-empowered.
yeah.
So I do Law of Attraction stories and help them begin to understand how to use it for themselves.
Brilliant. And no better woman to do it. I mean, you're fantastic at explaining everything that you explain. So,
Well, thank you.
yeah. So, what services, we've already talked about the services that you offer. You've got a book that people can buy. You're in Women to Women Michigan magazine, which you've just said is online. You do workshops, and you've now created a 6-week program.
Yep.
You also coach people one-on-one?
I do. It isn't my biggest focus. I'm happy to, though. If somebody would like some coaching, I can do, because you're far away, but I can do Skype. I actually worked, this was a Law of Attraction story. Kevin and I were on the Abraham Hicks cruise to the Canary Islands. And so everybody from Europe was on that cruise. There were 1,000 people on it. Kevin met someone that I hadn't particularly met, who, and they became friends on Facebook. So now, when I was first writing the book back in 2015, I was looking for an editor, someone to help me, and I didn't know where to begin, and I didn't want to spend a lot of money because I had really no idea where the book was going at that time. And this friend that Kevin had made friends with had an editor friend who was also on the cruise, but I didn't meet her. And so I did a little Skype with her. She was in London, or outside of London, in England there, and we just hit it off. Like, we both knew Abraham material. It felt really good. And she said, why don't we trade services? If you'll provide me some coaching, I'll provide you hour per hour some editing. And that was my first experience of doing Skype coaching. And, and it worked out really well. We really got to know each other well. She really benefited from the coaching because I had been in Abraham so much longer than her. And I benefited from her editing. So it was a beautiful co-creation for my very first experience into just putting it up on Kindle.
That's lovely. What a lovely story. Tell me this, are the cruises amazing?
Oh, they're so amazing. They're memories that you'll never forget. The photographs are always gorgeous wherever they go. Of course, everyone's flying high, and there's some brand new people that really want to understand things more clearly. And then there's people like Kevin and I who've been around a long time that love sharing more information. If you've not really read their books, but you go on a cruise and you go into the workshop, there's a lot of questions there, but you don't understand it deeply yet. You're liking the feeling, and the conversation is good. So that's always fun for us, because we love helping people understand it more clearly, and even, move a little faster in their journey than it took us year after year, book after book.
Yeah.
That's what coaches are about, to help people learn to support themselves and be self-empowered.
Love it. Love it. Oh, fantastic. So will you continue to go on more cruises, you think?
Yeah, we've actually signed up for the next one coming up next March. I think it is.
Where's the next one?
It's going to be in the Caribbean, but what's nice is it will be, I think, a 10-day cruise. And the last one this year was 7. And that goes by so quick. I think this is actually a total of 11 days. And we want the nice length of time. And so we have signed up for that. That's our next one.
Lovely. And will you stay in the Caribbean for a little bit as well?
Probably not. 10, 11 days is good enough, and you come home and you're really filled with all kinds of great energy and want to continue exploring.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. So is there anything else, any other piece of advice that you would like to leave the listeners with today, Suzanne?
I think the biggest thing I've learned that's so, besides law of attraction and how to support myself, is there's no better feeling than to learn how to be authentically you, to be the person you really want to be, and let go of worrying about what other people think of you, and let go of worrying that you have to make, for me, it was my journey, everyone else happy before you make yourself happy. Because honestly, you know, when I went through that second divorce, and I was so into trying to do everything for everyone, including the men in my life, I realized in hindsight that you cannot have a happy ending to an unhappy journey. They just don't ever line up. You can't attract that. And so be true to yourself. Don't worry about other people. Focus in on you. Be good to you. Love yourself. Pick the thoughts, nice quality thoughts, and you'll have a quality life.
Beautiful. I love it. Thank you so much for that. And lastly, Suzanne, where can people contact you should they wish to avail of any of your services?
Yes, they certainly can go to our website, Personal Success Programs, or shortened version, psprograms.com.
This just broke up, sorry. So if you just want to say that to me one more time, sorry.
Yeah, personalsuccessprograms.com. Well, you know, you can contact me there. My email is Suzanne@psprograms.com. And they can always email me.
Brilliant. Well, thank you so much. And I really appreciate your time today. I know you're a busy lady like myself, so thank you so much for your time.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you for wanting to interview me. This is fun. This is my greatest joy, sharing my joy with other people so they can see what that feels like and want to step into it too.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. And we'll say namaste for now. And thank you to the listeners, and we'll see you next time.
Okay. Bye now.
Thank you, Suzanne.
Bye.